Tommy Stone here. Thank you for joining us again for our next installment in our devotional series from the My Family book. This week we're looking at teaching our children compassion. I love the story that I heard a long time ago, I've used often in sermons and classes, about Colonel Sanders, the world-recognized pitchman for KFC, the founder and celebrity, who during his heyday, the story is told of him on an airplane one time, and there was a young infant that was just screaming throughout the flight. And a haggard single mom was doing all she could to try to quiet her youngster. The flight attendants were coming along to try to do what they could. Nothing was working. Finally, Colonel Sanders went up to the mom and asked if he could hold the baby. And mom was more than glad to allow him to do it. He rocked the baby, cradled the baby, and the child finally went peacefully to sleep. And when he returned to his seat after he gave the baby back to his mother, there were several folks around him who said, "Thank you so much for what you did for all of us." And Colonel Sanders was reported to have said this: "I didn't do it for us. I did it for the baby." You know, I see Jesus so much in that statement and in those actions. Colonel Sanders on that occasion ached over a need and acted to minister. That's what we see in Jesus. I love the story in Mark chapter 6, verses 34 and following, where Jesus is trying to get some rest, trying to get some solitary time. And it says in verse 34, when Jesus landed from being in a boat, trying to get that solitary time, he saw a large crowd, and he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. But it was late in the day, it goes on, and his disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place. It's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus answered, "You give them something to eat." Now, the rest of the story goes on to tell how the disciples are like, there's no way we could even touch this need. There's no way we could even do much of anything with this kind of crowd and the resources that we have at our disposal. Of course, Jesus comes along and feeds more than 5,000 people. But I want to back up, because Jesus looked at this crowd and his gut ached. He felt their needs. He saw some things on the outside, but he knew even more about what was going on in the inside. I love the fact that when Jesus stopped on this occasion, he saw people, not just problems. He saw people, not just a crowd. He saw people, not any kind of perfection on their part. He saw their weaknesses. He saw their issues. Now, Jesus was busy, and Jesus had a mission. But he was not too busy. He had time, and he made time to ache and to act when he saw needs. In fact, Jesus didn't wait to be asked. And on this occasion, he pointed to his disciples and he said, "You do something." I think he was trying to teach on this occasion that they could do something, even if they couldn't do everything. And he was wanting them to see that they had Jesus right there who could handle a need this big. But I love the fact that Jesus didn't measure. He just wanted to minister. He felt it. he felt the needs. And Jesus is the one who tells the story in Luke chapter 10 of the Good Samaritan who saw a need and he ached over it and he acted to minister. And then he challenged those who were listening to go and be like that Good Samaritan. You know, I need help all the time being more like Jesus. And maybe in no area is this clearer than when I'm focused on myself and I miss the needs that are around me. That I fail to be feeling the way Jesus felt for other people and their needs. It's so easy to do sometimes because we're wrapped up in our own issues, in our own problems, in our own activities. I need help being more like Jesus so that my children will be more like Jesus. I want them to pray for other people, so I need to be praying for other people in their presence. I want them to show positive examples to others, so I need to show them the positive examples that exist around me. Stories of people like Colonel Sanders, and certainly those that we find in the Scripture, who were moved with compassion, saw needs like Jesus, and sought to meet them. I want our kids to model behavior, so I need to model behavior for them. I need to see needs and act, even if it interrupts my schedule, even if it's not what I want to do right then at that moment. I want to give them opportunities. I want my children to see that they have those chances in their life, even when they really want downtime or are busy doing their thing, that there might be a chance to minister to somebody else right then. So I want to give them opportunities to do that. My wife and I have strived to do that. We're not perfect at it, and we could do a much better job. And I pray that we all will, to point and move and push our kids toward those opportunities to serve. That's why the church, that's why youth group activities, that's why chances that we have just in our daily rhythms of life to point out people and their needs are so very important. And then as our author does this week on Friday, we need to show them Jesus on the cross. We need to show them that he was all about kingdom work, and that kingdom work included people and their needs. Jesus showed great compassion on the cross, even for those who were killing him. He prayed for those who were doing so. Forgive them, they know not what they're doing. He went to the cross anyway to take care of our sin problem before a holy God, because he had compassion on us and our inability to be righteous before God. So we need to show our kids Jesus on that cross. I pray that we're all teaching our kids what it's like to be like Jesus, that we're giving them opportunities to study his life and to watch what he does. But even more than that, I am praying for help to be more like Jesus so that our kids will have to say about us when we leave this life that they were often moved with compassion. I pray that you'll have opportunities this week to ache over a need and to act to minister just like Jesus. God bless you this week as you see those opportunities and as you do them.